for joining us for this day of celebration and thanksgiving to the Lord for bringing us to this exciting day. We're most grateful for the support and enthusiasm of many of you through this almost 2-year journey to place this lasting memorial to honor the 7 ladies whose vision, hard work, and dedication 70 years ago ensured the preservation of this beautiful city. In the spring and summer of 1955, these 7 ladies, Catherine Judkins Clark, Eleanor Dillard Adler, Anna Colquitt Hunter, Lucy Barrow McIntyre, Dorothy Ripley Roebling, Nola McAvoy Roos, and Jane Adair Wright, chose to organize a group of like-minded residents to stop the destruction of the Davenport House. Also to form an organization to preserve the historic areas of Savannah and formulate a plan for their preservation while educating the citizens of the rare heritage they possessed. They were successful beyond their wildest dreams. And by placing this monument in the heart of the area they loved and preserved, we honor them this day with this permanent memorial to ensure that we will never forget them, their courage and vision, the enduring gift they have given us of this vibrant community of Savannah, and perhaps most importantly, their challenge to us by their inspiration to go and do likewise. Let us begin now with our invocation offered by Rabbi Robert Haas, the 14th spiritual leader of Congregation Mikveh Israel. It is one of the oldest synagogues in the country, having been founded in 1733, not long after the Oglethorpe arrived with the first settlers. It is most fitting that Rabbi Haas joins us as his presence represents the faith of 2 of the 7 ladies' families, Eleanor Adler Dillard and Nola Roos. Rabbi Haas arrived in Savannah 12 years ago to assume his current position and has become widely known as comedian, lecturer, preacher, and interfaith leader, regularly speaking and performing for organizations, radios, shows, colleges, theaters, houses of worship, and institutions. He is a native of McAllen, Texas, is married to April, and they have 2 children, a daughter named Amira and a son named Arya. Rabbi Haas.
It's an honor to be here, and I'm impressed that you pronounced my son's name correctly. It's very difficult. It's the Sabbath today for us, so I can't tell a joke because I'd have to charge you money, and we don't take money on the Sabbath. But I moved here several years ago, and so like so many of you, I reaped the fruits of these 7 women's labor. When I came to Savannah, I saw the beauty, and I just assumed it had always been this way. People who come here assume it has always been this way. Sometimes we forget that a vision is something to really appreciate. Today we appreciate their vision. 70 years ago, I doubted everybody else appreciated it. As we reaped the rewards of their labor, let us remember that in 1955, 7 women who wanted to do anything was probably very difficult. To get the city, the county, the approval of even their husbands was probably something they had to go out of their way to really force. They had to be a part of nature. They had to understand how to work the system, and they had to have a vision for the future. Today we thank God for these 7 women who did something extraordinary for our city. They could have never imagined the impact they would have, that we would have 18 million tourists, that we would be appreciated worldwide, that we would be the city we are today. And yet we venerate them for all they did, because perhaps they did have that vision. Perhaps they understood what Savannah could be. Today we have an incredible city council, a vibrant school system, a wonderful mayor, happens to be good looking as well. And a lot of it is because of what they did. We thank God for the domino they pushed over, for their perseverance. And today we thank God for this beautiful city that continues to inspire us, to bring people to visit, but more importantly, continues to find better ways to serve its constituents. May God continue to bless our city. Amen.
Thank you, Rada Haas. I would like to take a few minutes today to welcome some of our special guests. First, I'd like to welcome the members of the 7 ladies' families. I'm not asking anyone to stand, but I just want you to be aware that we have approximately 70 members of the 7 ladies' families, some local, but some from all across the country, who are here with us today, who are just as excited as anyone else to see this coming to fruition. We'll also be hearing shortly from the Honorable Mayor Dr. Van Johnson, Savannah's mayor, and Alderman Dietrich Leggett, who's representing District 2. And we have some councilmen and also county commissioners here, and Blake Stevenson, the field representative for Congressman Buddy Carter, 1st District representative from Georgia. They also need to thank and welcome members of the Chatham County Park and Tree Services and Depew Monument Company, who are responsible for the monument and surrounding brickwork and planting. And Austin Hill, who's the chair of Historic Savannah Board, with other members of the Historic Savannah Foundation and their staff, including Collier Neely, their president and CEO, and just with grateful thanksgiving to every one of those people who have had an integral part in getting this journey to its completion today. It's my pleasure now to introduce our first speaker, Alderman Dietrich Leggett. He is the alderman for the 2nd District, which is now the proud home of the 7 Ladies Monument. Nida Green Leggett, and is the proud father of 5, along with many other young people in this community who look up to him as a father for guidance and support. He is a 1993 graduate of Savannah High School and a 25-year veteran worker at Memorial Health, where he works in the operating room. Alderman Leggett is a 35-year member of Holy Spirit Lutheran Church and has devoted much of his life to work with youth in this community and citizens whose lives have gone in an unhealthy direction. His efforts have resulted in his being recognized by multiple groups and government agencies, including the MLK Drum Major Award and a proclamation from the Georgia House of Representatives. He is also the proud coach of a football team within the urban community.
Championship football team.
Excuse me. The Savannah Bears Elite and 2018 City Champion Oglethorpe Academy football team. It is an honor to have him with us and thank him again for his part in helping to bring us to this day. Alderman Leggett.
Good morning. Good morning. Everybody say yeah. Yeah. And the reason why I want you to say yeah is because we got to a point where we're at the finish line. And we're at a point right now where we can have a conversation and we have a point of reference when people come to Savannah and they want to sit down in the park and they want to figure out who are these 7 women. So now they get to go back home and they can Google and they can find out and they can talk to other people about the 7 ladies. We're going to talk about Nola Ross and Jane Wright and Anna Hunter, Lucy McIntyre, Eleanor Dillard, Cass Clark, and Dorothy Roebler. Those are the people who stood in front of a building. Those were champions of conversation now. Think about what they did. Back in the day, like the Reverend said, like the Rabbi said, It wasn't popular for ladies to stand there and take a stand. But now we talking about what the power of what women do nowadays. So what they have done, they've shown us the way of how we as a community look good. Say we. We as a community as the 2nd District, we are the most important and the most popular part of the city. Say us. Us as a community show how diversity and how we can look when we come together and how we can show people what we can do if we stick together. Arm in arm, ladies stood together and showed what we can do if we stick together. Maybe we might not look alike, might not talk alike, but we have the same interest, and that interest is to show people that historic value is paramount when we come together. Say our. This is our opportunity, Savannah. This is our opportunity. The scripture says that the number 70, you get 70. Now I heard 70 twice today. 70 in the Bible is completion. We're at completion. We got 70 family members. Now we're talking about 70 years that 7 ladies took a stand to do something wonderful for this city. And it's because of each and every one of you that you can take what we talk about today and what we unveil today in the 2nd District, that great things has happened. So when you leave, create conversation, create that buzz. But when you come back, bring somebody back with you and tell you that the 7 ladies that stood in front of a building, that stood in front, that created history, created opportunity for us to be here together. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Leggett. We will hear now from Austin Hill, the chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Historic Savannah Foundation. He has served the foundation in several roles since returning to his hometown of Savannah in 2011. He also serves on the advisory board of the Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water in Bear Run, Philadelphia. Austin has served as president of his family's real estate firm for the past 25 years, as well as serving in other civic capacities. Austin brings a special touch to the field of preservation as he was born in Savannah and grew up on Burnside Island in a home his parents restored. Austin.
Thank you, Lucy. On June 28, 1955, Anna Colquitt Hunter presided as chair over the first organizational meeting of the Historic Savannah Foundation in the Gold Room at the Old DeSoto Hotel. She had assembled a group of 6 of her colleagues to enlist concerned citizens to combat demolition and protect historic structures in downtown Savannah. She later said about that meeting, "It is because of periodic panics when landmarks are threatened that our group first initiated the idea of Historic Savannah. We believed that if an organization could be formed on a sound basis, inaugurate a long-range program, the danger of constant crises would be avoided." At that first meeting, the threat of demolition of the Davenport House was raised and a plan of action put into place. These threats had become common following the demolition of our treasured city market in 1954. At the time, our business community desired a progressive Savannah with larger scale modern structures and plenty of parking. In a genuine grassroots effort, reaching out to the community, the funds for the Davenport House were soon raised by the 7 ladies. Decades of urgent preservation measures and last-minute fundraising followed the saving of the Davenport House. Architectural gems like Marshall Row were saved from complete demolition. Properties like this were being destroyed to reuse the popular Savannah gray brick in Southside developments. These measures were then followed by the preservation of entire neighborhoods by Historic Savannah Foundation, such as the majority of Pulaski and Troop Squares. Abandoned rows of wonderful homes were stabilized and preservation-minded buyers were sought out to restore them. Today, we unveil the first monument to preservationists in the United States. 7 determined and resourceful ladies who saved our city on a large scale. They started an organization that has saved well over 400 structures to date and manages one of the largest easement programs in our country. While HSF is still saving structures in neighborhoods, we now have an added purpose. We are afforded the opportunity to restore some of the damage done in previous decades. I believe that this would make our founders extremely proud. Just like it was in the beginning, your gifts to Historic Savannah Foundation are integral to making it happen. Our CEO and President, Collier Neely, is here, as well as many of our staff and board members. We will be happy to speak with you about the current goals and needs of Historic Savannah Foundation. Lastly, thank you to Lucy Brannon and Catherine Varnado for their tireless work and dedication to bring this monument to fruition. It is so important that this monument is a gift from the families of the 7 ladies to the city of Savannah. Historic Savannah Foundation was honored to be able to help.
Thank you, Austin. He has shared with you about the early days of Historic Savannah, and now Catherine Varnado and I would like to offer a brief snapshot of the lady's story and why we are here today by letting you get to know a little bit better about who they were. As Austin described to you, Savannah in 1955 did not look like it looks today. Where we're sitting had deteriorated. This whole area, including the Davenport House, had deteriorating to substandard rooming houses, and the building to my right, your left, was at that time the Godey Funeral Home. And they had purchased, as Austin made reference to, the Davenport House to demolish it and turn it into a parking lot because they needed space for their limousines. And they could also get the profit from the beautiful brick and the mantels and all the interior of the building. And as Austin alluded, the ladies, after the raising of the city market, had gotten together under Anna Hunter's leadership and were in the process of trying to get a permanent solution to this problem in Savannah. And they worked during that spring and early summer to accomplish those goals, talking to other communities who had done similar efforts, and also working to establish what is now Historic Savannah Foundation. However, not long before the meeting that Austin alluded to, Anna Hunter arrived at Catherine and my grandmother's house, and Catherine happened to be there, and Anna Hunter comes in and says, "Lucy, they want to tear down that Davenport house and we need to do something about it." Well, they sent Catherine to get the Coca-Colas, so she didn't hear the rest of the story, but she knows that something important was going to come about. And today we're the beneficiaries of their saving the Davenport house, which I think ultimately became the spark plug to really get things rolling in Savannah. One interesting other tidbit was that the Savannah community, the business community, was not 100% behind this, even behind closed doors, referring to this group as the Hysterical Society. But they were able to use their talents and pull those together to begin the restoration of the downtown area as we see it today. It took courage, wisdom, and perseverance on the part of these ladies. Each brought unique qualities and backgrounds to the effort. This was important, actually essential, to accomplish their goals, as at that time, Savannah businessmen, politicians, and recognized leaders were predominantly male, as was earlier referenced, and so the representation from their wives and daughters was essential to secure the necessary influence and business involvement to ensure success. The group of 7 ladies were able to bring to bear on this project their connections and skills within their specific sectors of the community. Let's examine briefly who each of them were. Catherine Judkins Clark was born in 1897 in Danville, Virginia, and was a graduate of Hollins College. She and her husband, Reuben Clark, moved to Savannah with their 3 boys in 1948 from Albany, New York. Once in Savannah, Reuben assumed the presidency of Savannah Bank, excuse me, and Cass, as she was known by family and friends, settled into the historic home they purchased on Gaston Street to raise their family. Within a few years, she became a volunteer in the restoration of the Owens Thomas House, and with her friend Jane Wright, collaborated on the restoration, traveling to Winterthur Museum in Delaware for advice and research on appropriate furniture and decor. She also volunteered with the Red Cross during both World Wars and worked on the Savannah Tour of Homes begun by Christ Episcopal Church to provide funds for various community organizations. Kaz's enthusiasm for preservation work was passed on to many in her family who have continued Kaz's work with Historic Savannah and in other cities where they have lived. Eleanor Grunsfeld Adler Dillard was born in 1903 in New York. After marrying her first husband, Sam Adler, and living in New York for her first few years, they moved to Savannah, where she assisted her husband with the family business, a popular clothing store known as Adler's. They also became active with the Israel Synagogue and raising of their 2 sons. Eleanor served on several boards, including the League of Women Voters, Family Services of Savannah, and the Women's Board of Bethesda. She was an avid supporter of the local symphony orchestra and the Little Theater, a community theater. When the Davenport House was restored, she worked alongside Emma Hartridge to oversee the decorations for the site. Eleanor's legacy also extended for many years through her son Lee and his wife Emma, who devoted much of their lives to preservation work. Anna Colquitt Hunter was born in 1892 in Anniston, Alabama, and grew up in Savannah. She attended Agnes Scott College, married George Lewis Cope Hunter, and they returned to Savannah to live and raise their 3 children. To assist with this task, Anna went to work for the Savannah Morning News, beginning a more than 40-year career as a reporter and editor. During World War II, she served with the Red Cross in Washington, D.C., North Africa, and Italy, and was nominated for the Bronze Star for her exemplary work. Upon her return to Savannah, her work at the newspaper resumed, and she taught herself to paint, discovering a talent which led to many accolades, shows, and awards. She was described by one professional critic as the Grandma Moses of the South. For her many contributions to her community, Anna was awarded the Oglethorpe Trophy, the first woman to achieve that honor, and the Thomas Genelad Award for her contributions to her community. Posthumously in 1995, she was recognized as a Georgia Woman of Achievement, one of the highest honors conferred upon a Georgian woman. And Catherine is going to come now and finish educating you about the rest of the 7 women. Catherine.
Good morning. Lucy Barrow McIntyre was born in Athens, Georgia in 1886. Moving to Savannah as a young child, she was the great-granddaughter of Isaiah and Sarah Davenport. At 69, she was the oldest member of the 7 ladies. In 1909, she married Frank P. McIntyre, a Savannah attorney, and they had 6 children, to whom she was devoted. Among her early endeavors, Lucy was active in the local suffragette movement and the Democratic Party. Along with Jacob G. Smith, she founded a free lunch program for the Chatham County school students. She received an appointment as field supervisor for Roosevelt's Work Progress Administration, the WPA, in the 1930s. Improving the availability of social services to all in the community was a driving force for Lucy. To this end, she was a founder of the Junior League of Savannah, a local USO soldiers' social service during World War II, the Savannah Nursery School, the Women's Relief Committee, the Juvenile Protection Association, the Savannah Health Center, Savannah Country Day School, and the Chatham Nursing Home. She was also a prolific writer and poet, and helped found the Georgia Poetry Society in 1923, winning a number of their prizes for her poems. It is not surprising that Lucy was recognized by several local awards for her outstanding work in her community. These included being named the Woman of the Year in 1955 and receiving both the Groves Award for outstanding contributions to Savannah's philanthropic progress and the Oglethorpe Trophy in 1957. In 1997, she was inducted into the Georgia Women of Achievement. During her lifetime, she became known as Miss Lucy to people from all walks of life out of respect for her capacity for great empathy for and her willingness to work tirelessly on behalf of others. Dorothy Ripley Roebling, born in New Jersey in 1904, was the youngest of the group of 7 ladies. She married Robert C. Roebling, whose family had been in charge of building the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City. After a visit to Bodina Plantation on Skidaway Island near Savannah, the Roeblings fell in love with the property and purchased it, moving in 1934 to the sparsely inhabited island, traveling back and forth by boat when they needed to get to the mainland. Dorothy pitched in however she was needed to help manage the farm and home, schooled 5 children until they were old enough to make the boat trip to attend local schools. Besides her responsibilities on the island, Dickie, as family friends and acquaintances called her, was a talented artist creating pictures out of shells, and an avid gardener, helping to lead the restoration of the Davenport House Garden. She was a member of the Trustees Garden Club, the Junior League of Savannah, and the Savannah Art Association. Nola McAvoy Ruse was born on July the 4th, 1895, graduated from Savannah High School and Business School. She entered the business world in Savannah, quickly became president of both the Savannah and State Business and Professional Women's Clubs. In 1923, Nola married Louis Joseph Ruse and assisted in managing the family pecan business, R&E Pecan Company. In the 1930s, she served as executive secretary to the mayor of Savannah. Additionally, Nola organized and became president of the Chatham County Democratic Women's Club, served as district census director, one of only 4 women to hold this position in the country, and worked with the American Red Cross, the Girl Scouts Council, and the Women's Army Auxiliary, the WACS, in World War II. In 1949, Nola was the first woman appointed as clerk of council for the city of Savannah and became not only the first female clerk, but also the first woman to lead any major department within the city organization. Jane Adair Wright was born in 1901 in New Albany, Indiana, and moved to Savannah in 1924, where her father, Dr. David Cady Wright, became the rector of Christ Episcopal Church. The family, including her youngest brothers David, John, and Morton, moved into the church rectory at 211 East York Street, later purchasing a home on East Gordon Street. By the time they moved to Savannah, Jane had graduated from Randolph-Macon College. She took a secretarial course at Broughton's Business School in Savannah and secured a job as a secretary to the editor of the Savannah Morning News. Jane became a charter member of the Junior League, serving as chairman of its first placement committee. She went on to hold jobs as executive secretary of the Tuberculosis Association and was secretary of Christ Episcopal Church for a number of years. She was also a member of the Georgia Historical Society and the Trustees Garden Club, and in 1935 served as the first chair of the Savannah Tour of Homes and Gardens, sponsored by Christ Episcopal Church. In the early 1950s, Jane's interest in the decorative arts led her to assist with the restoration of the Owens Thomas House with her friend Cass Clark, and in 1954, she became its first curator, a position she held for 10 years. These 7 ladies in age from 51 to 69, when they began their work, all held the common bond of a deep desire to preserve the historic downtown area, which motivated them into action. Their efforts have endured over the last 70 years through the work of Historic Savannah and like-minded citizens. These 7 ladies were unique in many ways and are recognized for a variety of accomplishments. None were originally from Savannah. Not all had similar family situations or educational backgrounds. Not all were married or had children. Not all worked outside the home. Yet they shared a common understanding of the important virtues in life which motivated them to act. They believed that to whom much is given, much was required. Additionally, they grasped the essence of what has been for centuries this truth, that each of us longs for a sense of place and permanence. Blending these 2 ideas gives them a commonality that motivated them to act to preserve the places they all called home, the buildings, the people that make Savannah, and the warm and welcoming place that it was and remains today. May their example of selfless devotion to preserving their homes inspire us and generations of Savannahans to come and do likewise. Before I introduce our next guest, I have one additional announcement concerning the monument to the 7 ladies. To the best of our knowledge, it will be the first such monument in the United States honoring ladies involved in preservation. Others have had plaques placed in their honor or a space named for them, but not a monument. This has been verified by a number of well-qualified historians, the National Park Service, which has no other such monuments on record, and the DAR, chapters in various cities around the country where they have chapters. Now it is my honor to welcome Mayor Johnson to address us today. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, yet his Savannah ties are quite strong. He is a proud alumnus of the Savannah State University and Georgia Southern University, where he earned his undergraduate degrees. In 2004, Mayor Johnson began his political career as the 1st District Alderman, a position he held for 16 years. He served as Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chairman of the City Council before his election as mayor. Mayor Johnson's visionary leadership, humanitarian efforts, and transformative impact have earned him widespread recognition. Mayor Johnson serves as 2nd Vice President of the National League of Cities, 1st Vice President of the African American Mayors Association, and a member of the United States Conference of Mayors. His record of service to the community is exemplary, especially in his leadership of the Chatham County Youth Commission for more than 30 years. We are delighted to have our mayor with us today, Mayor Johnson.
Thank you and good morning. This is absolutely a redeeming moment for me. For the 22 years I've been in elected service, and people reminded me constantly that I'm not from Savannah. I think I'm in good company, because you can be from other places and be 100% Savannian. So I share something with the 7 ladies. I have the honor of serving as the mayor of the greatest city on earth. We know her as Savannah, Georgia, and you clap right there. I didn't make it that way. I didn't earn it. we inherited it. And we inherited it because of these visionaries that we're here to honor today. Some things we know have been and remain true. Most notably, that girls still rule the world. In order to understand where we are today, it's important to be able to go back. Go back before I was born, before my parents met, before I was ever a thought, to understand where Savannah was and where Savannah could be if a different route was taken. In the early 1950s, Savannah was at a crossroads. We were on the precipice of economic decline. Business interests were taking over, and historic structures were being demolished to make a room to help push the economy. And we had these ordinary women who ended up doing extraordinary things. And because they put their ordinary to a collective extraordinary work, they are now and forever legendary. And we support and thank them for that. It is important for cities like Savannah to continue to move forward. But in Savannah, we move forward by also looking back. And you can do both at the same time. For our city, as we continue to grow, as we're in front of the Davenport house that almost was not here, we know that vision is one thing, work is something else, and financing is something else. What had not been mentioned, according to our records, is that at the time, these amazing ladies raised about $22,500 to save the Davenport house. In today's terms, that's a little over $300,000 from 7 women. 7 women who, some were wives and mothers. They were from different backgrounds, from different places. I suspect they had different political affiliations. They were of different faiths. But it was important for them to keep the main thing, which was their love for this city. And I will tell you, even in 2025, when we're going through all of the stuff that we're going through, in Savannah, we want to keep the main thing, the love of our beautiful city. Do you agree? Thank you. And that is why advocacy is so important. And our form of government is so important, because citizens can petition their government, petition their city leaders, petition their community to make change. Voice is still important, even in 2025, like it was in 1950. We're not standing next to a parking lot today because of the vision, because of the voice, because of the work, because of the funding of these extraordinary women. Fast forwarding from 1950 up to 2025, we enjoy one of the largest, if not the largest, historic downtowns in the nation, with over 400 buildings still standing. 17 million visitors come every single year just to see what we're doing. And they enjoy us, and certainly we enjoy them. We pity them, though, because we get to live here every single day. The Historic Savannah Foundation, our friends and partners, started right here. And the 7 ladies are central to the development of the Historic Savannah Foundation, who is now Austin grown and evolved and have taken on new purpose. Why is this important? It's important because we know that for us, Pastor, this is a temporary address. Eventually, we all move on to our next thing. What will young people 70 years from now come here and say about us? When they come to Columbia Square and they look at this piece of magnificent stone and they read those names and the mayor of Savannah in the future will understand very clearly that he, like I, or she, like I, are the beneficiaries of love, the beneficiaries of work, the beneficiaries of stewardship, and a general care and concern for making our community better. And that is what it's all about. That despite the odds, despite the challenges, despite people saying it can't be done because it was never done before, that it still can be done. And so I call these names because I should, and I want to recognize them with a moment of silence because we must. Catherine Junkins Clark, Eleanor Adler Dillard, Anna Colquitt Hunter, Lucy Barrow McIntyre, Dorothy Ripley Roebling, Nola McVoy Roos, and Jane Adair Wright. Would you join me in a moment of silence to honor these extraordinary women? Thank you. There's an old African proverb that says, as long as you call their names, they never die. And to the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and great-great-great-grandchildren of these extraordinary women, you should be very proud of them and what they've done and how you are the beneficiaries of what they've done. God bless you, God bless them, and may their memories always be a blessing. So, these women are bossing me around now. I'm the mayor of this city. They're like, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna stand here, you're gonna read it, you're gonna read it clearly. You're gonna take your time. Women still rule the world, right? So the wording of the plaque is to be read as follows. It is my privilege to dedicate this monument in honor of the 7 ladies whose efforts 70 years ago changed the course of the history of this city. Catherine Junkins Clark, Eleanor Adler Dillard, Anna Colquitt Hunter, Lucy Barrow McIntyre, Dorothy Ripley Roebling, Nola McVoy Roos, Jane Adair Wright. These 7 ladies are recognized and honored in grateful recognition and lasting appreciation for their heroic effort in 1955 to save the Davenport House from demolition and to inspire the preservation of historic structures in the city of Savannah. Their leadership in raising funds to purchase the house provided the catalyst to found the historic Savannah Foundation with a group of like-minded Savannah residents. This proved to be the turning point to limit destruction of the remaining historic structures in the city and establish plans and guidelines
for future preservation efforts. Their determination to preserve the place which was their home continues to serve as an inspiration for all generations. The monument will now be unveiled by Catherine Barnago and Lucy Brannon, two granddaughters of Lucy Barrow McIntyre of the Seven Ladies. Ladies, again, may this monument always serve as an inspiration for those who come by it, for folks that serve on the city council of our need to make sure we preserve, for folks like Roger Moss and young people who grow up to know that anything is possible if you're willing to work, if you're willing to serve, if you're willing to look toward the future. God bless.
To give us our benediction, I would like to introduce the Reverend Samantha McKean. The Reverend Samantha McKean is currently the Associate Rector at Christ Church in Savannah, where she has served for the past 8 years. She considers it a great honor to belong to a community with such a long and storied history, and she especially values Christ Church's legacy of influential women leaders and advocates, such as Anna Hunter, Lucy Barrow McIntyre, and Jane Wright, among many others. The ability to see what is important and then act on it is a virtue she herself strives to embody. Reverend McKean.
Thank you. I consider it such a great honor to be with you all today as we celebrate this occasion and ask for God's blessing. May the God who holds both past and future bless this monument, the work that it represents, and all who gather here this day. May God strengthen you to carry and honor the work of those who have gone before us, that it may be a blessing to all those who come after us. And may the God of every grace and blessing give us hope, courage, and joy in this work. May God's abiding presence be with the city of Savannah and all who dwell within it, now and always. Amen.
Thank you all, every one of you, for being here today, especially those who've traveled thousands of miles to join us for this special occasion. We invite you now, if you have time, to visit the Murray C. Perlman and Wayne C. Spear Preservation Center, which is directly across the street behind the Davenport House. And if you have time, the Davenport House is open for tours today at no charge. It has been a great honor for Catherine and me to have the privilege of shepherding this project to this conclusion, and to have each and every one of you join us here this day. May I encourage you as you leave today, as we've just heard, that God would go with you, that you would have a peaceful day, and that you would go and do likewise. God bless you all.